So I want to start the conversation here, and we have Mr. Joe Cama, all right? Mr. Joe Cama, Ottawa Rome Flooring. But when you walk through Rome Flooring, I'm walking through his office right now, and I'm walking through the shop, and I'm seeing the amount of amazing contribution, involvement, participation that you've done. I'm astounded. You're talking from United Nations, from government, from community, from family members, from like you have touched so many things in life, and listening to this morning,
and
sitting
so
down,
many people too.
so many people, and prior to coming in here this morning, we're sitting downstairs like a barbershop conversation with these gentlemen that are part of the community. But and this is why I want to listen to understand him, Mr. Joe Cama here, the community. When you look at the community and you look at the foundations of Ottawa, and you come from Italy and you migrate to Ottawa, right? And then when you look at the foundations of Ottawa, and this man's 75 years old here, and Rome Flooring is 55 years in business. Now think about that for a second, right? To stay in business through all these economies of 55 years and you're still going. And I want to take a moment to listen to understand to you, right? Your history and what's your highlights? What's your biggest, proudest moments?
But my biggest, highest moment is the people that I met along the way. And my priority when I first started, my first priority was to me, I treasure a lot the honesty. And to me, and I always believe it. If someday I'm gonna make in business or in life, in community wise, I wanna be part of the community. I wanna be part first. The way I always believe, a family is first to me. Family is first. If you don't have a family, the way I treasure the most, he made my wife 10 minutes ago, and when I go home, she's always there waiting for me. There's somebody waiting when you go home. That's what I treasure the most. Amalia has been a big part of my life, 50 years in my life, and she always been there. She's always waiting for me, and that's why I always trying to strive to do better and better every day. Even when we started with nothing, we started with and we build it, we build until we got some nice things together to put a family together, which is very important. And when my first son came in, that's another plus, because I believe a family it's everything. You seen in this room here, it says a family is not an important thing. It is everything. There's a sign right there. You know, that's what I believe in that, and I believe to teach it those kids. Because the problem right now, it's our kids, our children. So everything starts from the foundation of the family. Everything starts from home. If you have a good foundation home, those kids, represent you in the future. And I tell you what happened is, as you've seen, I got a lot of good satisfaction in life because of that, because of the family thing. 2013, just to tell you one, but I have 4 pages of thing I did for the community. 2013, they did a Man of the Year. One of the biggest club in the community nominated me a Man of the Year in the community, Italian community in Ottawa. And I had all kind of dignitary came in and honor me that night. Even the priest of the Parroco St. Anthony there, Parish St. Anthony Church, and everybody from the federal, provincial, and the city of Ottawa. They all honor me that night. At the end of the night, one of my daughter-in-law came to me and say, you know, why you did what you did, why you doing what you're doing, and my answer to my daughter-in-law said, what I did, all this, what I'm doing, I did, and I'm still doing it. It's because when my first granddaughter was born, Angelica. And the first my granddaughter was there, I said that my granddaughter, that girl is gonna carry the name, my name, my common name, which I treasure a lot. My common name, so I want to leave them a good name. That was my vision all through when I first saw the first son and the first granddaughter. That was my main concern. That's why I always believe honesty will go a long way. That's one of the reasons, Janky, and it's been a pleasure to have you here today with me. And I consider you a good friend, and I treasure that too.
Well, and Joe, I absolutely have so much respect for you, and when I look at that, and I got to know you through your sons, but I'm blown away. Like honestly, I'm blown away by grade 3, right? Grade 3.
I never had any school. My dad died very young.
Your dad died very young. Grade 3, you left Italy, you came to Canada, boots on the ground. You built your name, and that name of respect. And I understand that because I had to do a lot of cleaning up in the last few years. And because your name is your name, and it's important. But the contribution that this man has done, and how many lives you've touched, right? And all in the respect of family, right? Because family is everything. The respect of your name.
My vision was that. My vision
and to
was
pass it on.
Pass it on to the. And I tell you what happened when Jangi, when I started helping, I had a soccer club out of a United Soccer Club for 80, 90, and 2000, 2005. And then 2008, I moved away a little bit of the soccer related, and I had a vision for some reason that those players, those kids that were playing for my teams, and I had up to 2,000 kids with the house league included. We have competitive teams and they have house league teams, and as you see, there's a lot of soccer related in this room. So just because I helped those kids, and I had a vision, I had some kind of feeling. I say someday those people, those kids, they're gonna be somebody. They're gonna be a lawyer. They're gonna be plumbers. They're gonna be, electrician. They're gonna be doctors or something like that. And I say someday that those kids, they're gonna not only be my friends for life, and I'm gonna tell you a little story what happened in Florida. I was in soccer small. I don't know if you've ever seen. No. In Sunrise, is the biggest shopping center in Florida. There is near where I live in Florida for the last 11 years, and in the winter months, and I was sitting outside. My son Vince, which you know very well, he went inside shopping. I was sitting there and and waiting for my son. All of a sudden, I heard a name call me. I heard a name call me. I say, Joe. I turn around and I see one of my players. I didn't recognize him, but he recognized me after 30 years. My name is Sean, and you, Joe Cama, I was playing with you when I was 13 years old. This kid is like my son, age 45 today.
Impactful, right?
Just to give you an idea, for some reason I had a feeling in those days something will happen. And all those people, just like Sean and Antonio, and John, whoever was playing, they all professional people, construction people. They all come and buy material at Rome Flooring today. They all be my friends for life, and my son's friends for life, and they share business together. That's the biggest pleasure you can have today. That's the biggest thing I take every day in my life.
But and they're respecting that. When you say like Rome Flooring, people they drive by and they'll see Rome Flooring and 55, but everything that's the foundation of Joe Cama. But I'm telling you, like, I'm astonished and amazed by how much you've touched a community and your
Yes,
like
yeah.
the pulse. When you look at the pulse of a community, like I have a lot of respect for the Italian community,
Yeah.
and because of the pride of workmanship, the quality of workmanship, and you put emphasis in what you do, right? But you put emphasis into everything. And the respect that you got back, I can see it throughout your room, and I see it throughout your friendship. And again, I see you as a very humble man. I see you
Thanks,
as
yeah.
you're a very humble man, and you're also very grounded. You're sincere.
And I believe active generosity too. In our life, I always believe in generosity. You have to not just take. You gotta give sometime. And I don't know if you have 3 pages there that I started the Villa Marconi. I started church, Madonna. We built together another 45 people. I had a retirement home with another one on Boston. I helped to build too. And I've been involved every soccer related, every single event that the community did, every single thing the community I was involved. Just because I believe act of generosity, Jungi, which I believe on that, and I believe, to me, to involve in so many things. I go everywhere. I was last week. 300 Italian community, not just Italian, all the Italian at large, and Canadian friends, friends of the Italians, were a boys' night out, and I was a guest speaker there, and I thought I met so many beautiful people that we dealt in business related, sport related, community related people, and I treasure every single one of them. And that's what I take with me. Someday God calls me, I'm ready for that, just because of that.
And you mentioned the community, like from the children to the elderly, from giving to the poor, and you're talking about that earlier. And I have so much value, and I've done stuff around the world with charity work and donations. That
I know you did a lot too.
but I respect what you've done. But here's Cama of Rome Flooring. Here's Cama Soccer. Here's Cama Construction. Here's Cama Community. Here's your involvement. Like you're not 400 years old. You're 75, and you've done so much in your 75 years. And if you were to look at to me, and if I was to ask you, who is Cama to you?
Yeah, who's Joe Cam to me? Joe Cam is to me that it's a friendly person that wanted I say to show the meaning of family. To me, it could be a business family, could be a family, could be your friend's family. To me, I put that first. At first, I was, if you don't have your family, you have everything, nothing really. Your family is a priority, but every other thing that I did it's like a family. And today I meet those beautiful men and women that I dealt with in the past, and we can have a coffee together. We can enjoy a conversation like we do now together because there is affections. And I always say to my 3 boys, they're running my company today, I say, if a person doesn't look into your eyes, just like you and me right now, you hide something.
Mm-hmm.
If that person doesn't look in your eyes like we're doing right now, me and you, Jangi, it means you're not an honest person. You're hiding something, and that I don't want to deal with you if you that. Just to give you an idea, that's all. I always had that feeling in that moment that I believe it, respect. I believe it to, look somebody in the eyes and say, here, you're my friend, you're my business partner, you're my associate, you're my community person, you're my, priesthood, you're my, things that I met along the way. I have so many people. Up to today, after so many years, I don't know if you know, I did the Italian Week for 2 years, 2008, 2009. But I was always involved for the Italian Week for the 30 years almost. And all those people, sometimes we meet along the way. You should see it. We hug each other. We respect each other. We have a nice conversation that we did something, that we can treasure for the rest of our life,
And I felt that this
Yeah.
morning. Like I came here for 10 a.m. to have an interview, and we ended up sitting for 2 hours. Yeah, several friends just stopped by.
Just stop by. I
have
never
a,
call them.
yeah,
They just step by
have a
for.
cappuccino, have a
Yeah.
Americano, have and then your wife stopped by, and she was part of the conversation. And then I'm looking at like presidents of the United States, prime ministers of Canada, mayors of cities, community members, like actors and actresses. There's so much that you touch and
You also have my dad up there too. He died 44 years old. And one of the reasons I'm in this beautiful country because I am, that God took him too early.
took him way too early.
Yeah.
Right. And you say you got
I'm
you got 21 years of borrowed time right
a
now,
little
right?
bit emotional when I talk to my dad because one of my brother had to go. You know, I want to tell you a little story about my dad because it symbolized a little bit of what I am. My dad, he was 9 years old. He started working in those days in the old country, you know, Italy, in South Italy. There was one family or two family owned the whole town, and he worked with one of the owner of the land. He used to be supervising, you know, citrus, you know, orange and mandarin and all in the farms. And he worked since the 9 till he died 44 years old. He worked in the same family. You know, my dad, everybody on Christmas time, they used to bring those cases of orange and mandarin home at Christmas time. My dad never brought one mandarin home, one orange at home. And I remember like today, my mom, which died 11 years ago, she was 97 years old. You know, he used to scream at my dad. Everybody that works in this family, they always bring cases of orange or mandarin. He don't bring nothing. You know, I don't. He said, unless the owner of the land give it to me, then I'll bring home. If not, I will never take it home. Because these people used to take it without permission. You will never take anything without permission.
So he taught you respect.
You know, he told me that honesty means a lot. That's what I come from. And since then, that's what I believe it. My dad died at 44, but look what happened in Jengi, which I want to tell the story. To me, it's everything. When he died, we couldn't afford to burying my dad. The owner of the land, they put my dad besides their family at the cemetery. That's how honest my dad was. Never did it in the all the family, all the village of the town. Nobody did that. The only first time they did it when my dad died, they gave him a plot, you know, a cemetery plot beside their family plot.
You know,
That tells you everything about my dad.
And I see that in you,
Yeah.
right? And I see that in your sons. I do. Like we had a gathering at my house not too long ago.
Yeah. And it was a pleasure to be in there. Yeah.
And Vince that night,
Vince,
he's on the barbecue and it's like 11 o'clock at night, but just naturally, like hands on, right?
I'm very proud of my three boys. I tell you the truth, Jengi. I tell you why I'm proud. I'm the only father, because I know, you know me, I know a lot of people in the business community. And a lot of nice Italian people, they have a big business. And everybody has family work with them, but nobody had three sons like me in the business. That ties everything, because I treat my three boys like friends, you know? I treat my three boys part of this whole thing. I don't trying to push the envelope and say, here, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, or, you know, get upset for stupidities. No. If I see something wrong, I know I act on this. I have something I gift my mom gave me. I have a lot of patience. That's one of the reasons I'm 230 years old, and I tell you how I came to that number. 75 years old, 50 years of marriage, 50 years of community work, right? And I have 55 years in business, so I came to 230 years old. So So I tell you, after 230, you learn a lot of things.
When I walk through your shop and I see the walls, I believe you're 230 years old. I do.
So that's what I just put that together last week when I was with the boys' night. Together we do that every 6 months. And this is all about so to survive all those things in your life. You have to do something, right? You have to do something that you must to love, really. It's all love up there that I tell you the truth, I go around almost every day and I see somebody on the street asking for, poor people see on the corner of the street. If it's a young people, I don't even stop. But if it's an old person, okay? If it's an old person and I always give them $1. Because my dad say always, if you can give, not if you can. If you don't, it's okay. But always trying to, to be generous. In other words,
And you mentioned that because I've been to parts of the world where I did a thing in Uruguay with 50 children.
I know you've been around, and I know you did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but they didn't have any parents. Yeah. Or some of them were abused by their parents. Or some of them were they did literally it was no power, no water, no nothing, right? And so you come from a background, you understood that, and my father raised me that way. He served World War II, came from nothing, depression, and his father died young, and his mother died young, and he ended up becoming their father. His 6 youngest, he became their father. So his brother told me, your father became my brother became my father, right? Mm-hmm. And so you went through that, right? You were 9 years old, right?
9 years old, and we all had to work, and we were 4 brothers, and my dad left my mom with four sons, really, and I'm the one I'm 18 and a half. I emigrated to Canada. But the younger one, he was too young. So the owner of the land, when my dad was working, they put it with the nuns, to stay there because my mom couldn't afford it to support 4 boys. So everybody helped. So that's why you remember, there's always an angel that comes to you in a different ways. That angel came and supported my brother. And another angel, my uncle in Toronto, called me to come to this beautiful country, and the other 2 brothers, they worked there and helped my mom to we built a nice house for her to live the rest of her life.
That hardship built such a strong foundation for you, that your path, that wisdom you earned young in life. And your sons' children will inherit that, right? And it's a different generation, because the wars and depressions and losing your parents young, and then I see it.
That make a big difference, And also my biggest pleasure that I have right now, Jangi, is that we're not just one generation, 2 generations. The 3rd generation works with us now at Rome Flooring. Joseph, Vince's son, and Vince's daughter worked until she got a job in the government. So just 3 months ago. And we have a 3rd generation. It's a continuation life, a continuation of Rome Flooring, a continuation of, I know my son Vincent does some community work already. The other 2, they're too busy, they have small kids. But Vincent, the kids are a little bigger, so he started doing a little bit of what I did, 50 years ago, started doing a little bit of community work, be part of the, of the system.
Of all the community work you've done, and I know you've done a lot, and you can't say which one's my favorite, but which one left a lot for you?
The biggest thing I did, one of the most places that I had is build a church in the Madonna Resurrezione on Fisher. Another 45 people there. That was the first, besides Villa Marconi, Villa Marconi was first, and which I was a fundraising committee there. And if you go there, we have the dance floor I donated. We have the Centro Historical Center beside. I was part of that too when after the Villa Marconi was open. You know, but I always believe it to be part of the community. And but the church was one of the nice project that I really enjoyed. And up to today, we had 6 hours of video every time we meet and raising money. You know, because the church gives you half, we have to raise the other half. At the end, what happened? The director, the diocese Ottawa, comes around and says, "We own the church now. You guys did what you did, but now it's part of the you know the Christian system they have." The diocese Ottawa, which is part of the Pope there, it takes over, and we did something nice. Now the older people, I don't know if you know before, when we landed, I used to live on Wood Street. You know, a lot of people used to live downtown because when we landed, and we all went to the St. Anthony Church, which was our first church. And then everybody moved out to Nipia and all over there. There's when we did the Vesibili started before we did the church. There's 4,600 Italian family living from Bell's Corner to Orleans. In those days, Canada wasn't built as much, you know. So all the immigrants, all the Italian immigrants, all the Canadian Italian, they all moved from you know, downtown to in the suburban, which here where we are now used to be in the country. We're not in the country, we're in the middle of the city now, on Hunt Club, where my shop is located now.
But you're right, it was the middle of the country.
If you remember, you've been here many years too.
Like, I'm going to be 58, and my sister was married Italian, and then my father, whether it's because he served that war for 5 years and he was out in Europe or his connection, but I have pictures of me like on Booth Street, on St. Anthony's. Mortadella was in my deli at home. My father had a lot of respect. We used to go to my jiu-jitsu class at 10 years old, and then I ended up at Preston Hardware. So I grew up that way, right? So the respect of the Italian community, but I know exactly what you're saying, and they were hubs, and they were communities, and they were.
As you see, there's Italian flags and everything around. I tell you a little thing, a true story really. I didn't invent that one. It's the way it is right now. It tells you how many Italians is around the world. You know, if you look Mr. Google there's 120 million Italians. You know,
120 million?
Including
That's okay, I was checking.
including Italy. It's 120 million. And there is and then the president of Italy 8 years ago, he said that there is another 300 million around the world. They call Italics. Italic means half Italian. You know, it makes a race. In those days, I don't know if you remember, you know, you come from a French background.
Yeah.
Right? Italian, we used to make 8, 10, 12 kids in those days. So there's a mixed race, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so there's 300 of those that be around Italy too, that be around the world, I should say. You know, so there's 120 plus 300, and there's 420. And then there is, according to those people in Italy, there is another 100 to 120 millions people that use Italian name to do business with, which is Sorrento Restaurant, Milano Pizza, and all those different business they use Italian names. So that they're coming to the point that I have. That's why when we win the World Cup, which you were with me when we won the Euro Cup, I don't know if you remember, I used to do the MC as
I remember.
And you were there with your nice Italian friends that you have, you know, with Vince and company. And that tells you why there's so much celebration when we win something like that. That's why I was involved with the sport a lot, and I'm still involved when there's big events like that, because there's not just 65 million in Italy. There's almost half a billion Our people celebrating, and Italian, not Italian too.
It's a welcome. See,
Yeah.
obviously my wife being Hispanic and Uruguayan,
Yeah.
soccer is they love the soccer, and you can see my mother-in-law who's still alive, like the way they watch soccer. My father-in-law, who's Uruguayan, his last name is Corbello, which is Italian.
Oh, that's
so his
not to mention that name, but he's He's
so the way
Italian.
what you just mentioned that the half Italian, that was him, right?
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, and I know exactly what you're saying, right? Because you saw it, like you saw that when Italy won, and you Preston Street, how amazing that was, right? It was an amazing celebration, but of all cultures were there celebrating with the Italians.
Oh, jeez, it's and I tell you, besides that one, remember in 2006 when Italy won the last two World Cup? To win the World Cup, and we can talk soccer, I can name every single World Cup who won, and since 1930, started with Uruguay, up to today. I can name every single one of them, if you want to, and I can name the first goal ever scored in the World Cup. Who scored? It was Lucien Perrin from France. Was playing with Uruguay, the first game ever played in 1930. You know, just to give you an idea. So it's a passion.
It is a passion.
It's a passion in sport. It's a passion in life. It's a passion with family. It's a passion in business. It's a passion with everything you do in life. And to me, just have you in front of me today, it's a pleasure to have you over.
Oh, it's an honor for me.
I'll tell you the truth, because I consider you a really good friend. That's why it's I get emotion. I'm a very emotional person, and just to see some friends like you, and seeing my grandkids that I had everybody on my table 2 weeks ago, that fills my life. And so what you did, along the way, and you had all kind of difficulty, because I can't talk the language I can explain myself as I never went to school, so I shut this thing off, and that's why, I never went to. I had the fortune to go to school because my dad died 44 years old, and my godfather died 44 years old too. That tells you. When I was 44, I told Amalie, which you met an hour ago, I say, pay the mortgage, I'm leaving. So I'm 75, I'm 21 years old, and born on time, right?
But honestly, you're a beautiful 75. You're a youthful 75. You're boots on the ground. You're still very involved. I love that, right? That's so important, and it's so important to pass on, and it's so important for communities to see. Like when I look at Joe Cama, I thought I knew Joe Cama, but there's so much to know about you, and you've given so much of yourself, and this is why I say the heartbeat of the communities. And they talked about small businesses last week, and this is not a small business. This is a pulse of the community, right? You are a pulse of the community, and there's so much legacy that you've created.
Just to remind you something, by saying that, thanks to remind me there, Jangi. Did you ever watch the Festival Italiano on Sunday, the Italian program? It's a program every Sunday.
Which one, but I haven't. No.
Every Sunday, Vince knows, I'm pretty sure he watches from 12 to 2, there's an Italian program with Johnny Lombardi, Festival Italiano. Johnny Lombardi, I got to know him by him to call me from Toronto when he applied at the CRTC, the government license to have this program across Canada, or across Ontario at that time, then he went across Canada. So he knew I was a very known community person in Ottawa. So I had a call from Toronto here in Ottawa, which then they opened a branch here in Ottawa, which I did the sports show for 4 years for them, He called me and said, "Wow, you're Joe Cama, you're part of the community, can you help me to get the license of the CRTC Communication Commission," whatever they call, And I said right away, I said, yes, but I need help. I needed help is I knew Bob Shirelli, which was the mayor. You know, he was my lawyer. I said, Bob needs a little bit of help. Can you come with me after we take all the signatures? We did a big petition. I collect over 2,000 petition signature. And me and Bob Shirelli and Enrico Del Castello, who is a professor from, he works in the government, but he's at the Italian school. He was a professor, and he has the Order of Italy. He's a Cavaliere della Repubblica Italiana, we call. He's a native from the Italian Repubblica, and they were kind enough to come with me, and we presented the other application to the CRTC in Quebec, in Gatineau there, the building, the first building over the bridge in Gatineau there. I don't know how they call that. And we presented, and today, after 30 years, people enjoy that program. I don't want to take the credit, but because of me and because of my friends' help, we presented and they passed they approved the application to have the first TV multiculturalism program in Ontario. Now it's with the internet, it's across the world now. You know, that's just a little thing like that, little hard work and sometime, little how do you say initiative. You know, it went a long way. And today I enjoy myself every Sunday while we're having a beautiful dinner. One of my kids was, we're watching the program every Sunday. You know, just to give an idea. That's things that that really remember the most. Sometimes.
But you get involved. You participate. You teach. You pass on. Like no, you do. And that's when I say about the pulse of the community. Think about like how much you radiate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I no, you do. And if I was to ask you a question, like, if I look at everything here and Joe Cama, if you were to, how do you want people in life, like, to who's Joe Cama? Like,
I tell you the truth, I would consider to me, I consider like a very simple person. I would consider people, a person that love people, really. I love every single one. Even the one that give sometimes they're off a little bit, they give a little bit of hard time. I still love them. I don't want to do any business with them, but I still respect them as the way they are. Because life is like that, Jangi. We're not all perfect. There's people that respect, there's people that so, there's people that they think different. But one thing I always did, Janki, I'm pretty sure you did too. Never put the dollar before the friendship. Never did it. I was always there, the first to be part of it. First to be part of the community, or be part of it, even to go for lunch. I don't want my friend to pay me for lunch. I want to share that lunch. I want to be part of it, and I want to be the first one at the cashier to pay if I can, which I did many times. And everywhere I go, even in Florida, I don't know if you see the plaque over there, City of Margate, Florida.
Yeah.
That's the mayor of Margate gave it to me. I belong to the men's club here in my community where I live for 11 years. The mayor gave me that plaque, because the work I did for the men's club in my community.
I swear that the President of the United States or the Prime Minister of Canada does not have the recognition that you do. I'm like I said, throughout your shop, and it's like a museum, but it's a museum of boots on the ground. Museum, like I said, involvement, participation, contribution, wisdom of passing on, and it's such a gift to the community.
Like I mentioned to you about a couple hours ago, we've been together now almost 2.5 hours, 3 hours. Remember what I said to you? I always consider, I consider myself a little bit a man of the word, a word, one man, one word, one man, and that word, one man that I passed it on to a lot of beautiful people that I met along the way, including you, Jenky, today. which I treasure. I'm a very emotional person.
You're a good
So when I
soul.
say that, I tell you the truth. And it's all about, if you think about it, we're here for a short period of time, and that short period of time, when God call us, and we have to do the best. And I tell you the truth, if God calls me tomorrow, I'm ready. Just because what I met along the way, the beautiful people that I met along the way, and beautiful family that I had along the way, and I always thank my wife that they saw my visions that I had, and she stuck around with me, and she made me do what I love the most, because sometimes you know, so, it's a lot of our kids sometimes no last 50 days in marriage. I lost 50 years. You lost a few years too. Life is unexpected. You gotta accept it, what life gives to you, and as long you accept it in a way I'm very content in my life. I tell you, just talk to you right now, it's extra for me. That's how I see it, life. When I leave this week for Florida for another 6 months. I tell you, when I get to my place in Florida, I have so many friends that I accomplished there for after 11 years of being there. I get out of my unit. I'm not kidding you, Jengi. After about 200, 300 feet, I meet somebody that wants to talk to me just because the way I am. Why do people want to talk to you? Because first, you're honest to what you say. You're honest to what you do for the community there. You're a very simple person. You show that you're very simple. You don't try to take advantage of those beautiful people, that you meet. And that's what I always did in my life. I always believe in the willing acting of a person that you are, really. That's what I say. One man, one word. That's why I describe myself. And the word that I pass it on, that people take as a friendship. That word of friendship.
I'm going to tell you that this morning when I came here and I sat with you guys and I felt it was very healthy.
Yeah, thanks.
And
Thanks.
health is so important to me right now, and very healthy. And you mentioned God calling you, and I hope He waits that another 25 years, because there's so much that you radiate, and again, and for your grandkids and that. I really appreciate this conversation today, and I really appreciate you taking the time. And I know you say you're a simple man, and I have those same values. I'm about conversation. I'm about a bonfire. I'm about people at a table. I don't need stuff. I love to sit with people. I love to converse, and people that know me say the same thing about me, and I really appreciate that value that you give, that you just naturally give.
Thanks. Because I've been in your place and I knew the people that were there that day. You do a lot too. So professionally and everything else.
You mentioned this morning about the men and get together, and I say to people, my circle, my brotherhood, is not just providing men, but they're involved in providing men. And I say that because it's easy sometimes to give money, it's easy to provide, but are you involved?
Exactly. You have to put in, really. You have to, show that you're part of it, And I have to tell you another thing that I did, which I just to remember. You remember Lansdowne Park when they started renovating it?
Yeah, I was the inspector for that.
They started put the filter, they had a grass on the field.
Yeah.
So I had a call one day, like John Lombardi called me for the program. I had a call because I had a big club in those days. So this person from Toronto, his name was Irvin Grandman. He had a filter, new system came out. The one with the rubbers inside the grass.
Okay, yeah.
People when they they don't get hurt as much because the rubberized things inside. No, I had a call from Grandman, and he told me a big lesson, and I tried the lesson he gave me there. He called me about you heard about the Lansdowne Park renovating, doing the whole stadium and everything, and he said, Kenju, do you know anybody that can be introduced into the mayor? And the mayor happened to be Bob Sherrill, my old lawyers, become a mayor. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, yeah.
It was, I forgot the day, it was 88 and 98 or 2002, something like that. Yeah. And I said, sure, come over. And me and the manager of my club, Mariko Natufi, was my manager in soccer at that time. I say, this gentleman come from Toronto. He wants to introduce this new filter to the mayor. He wanted to start a Lansdowne Park, And the mayor made a space for us. I called Bob and he said, here, come over. And he did a beautiful presentation. And he got the job. He did the first field turf in Canada was at Lansdowne Park, believe it or not.
Good job.
And that field turf now is all over the world. Not him, but other company they started also.
Yeah.
But that was one of the, I don't want to take the credit for it, but was my, with a little bit of help, we did one in Ottawa capital, national capital in Canada. So they spread it out all over the place after that.
But it's the involvement, the introduction,
exactly, the first
connectivity,
contact,
and you help somebody,
and you help this,
and that person's helping others. He's creating jobs, he's creating employment. That's that radiation I'm talking about. You radiate.
You're right, and also you told me something that I always remember now, which I implement to my business thing. He told me another thing that we all have in common. You know what he did say to me? He said, Joe, human being, because I can't say in English very well, but human being, they have one thing in common, he said. You know what it is?
What's that?
Decision making.
True.
You in business a long time like I am too. Decision making, and then it stuck to me. That was in the 90s, the 2000 was, I forgot the date. It stuck to me because of that word, and I made a nice, beautiful decision since then. Is in life and business or community business, community work, And he said to me, I still remember like today, the only thing a human being has is decision making. You make a good decision, you make a good life. You make a bad decision, you made a bad life,
Yeah, but it is a commonality, right? Implementing the good decisions.
Exactly. And I tell you the truth, I tell you this one too. I come every morning in my office. I come at the shop. If I see my son, which I care a lot, if Vince very well, Michael very well, Mark very well, the younger one, he met his father-in-law this morning. His father-in-law only comes once a year. He came when you were there, so we had a beautiful conversation. David Valentine. And if I come into the office, if I see my son, and my son doesn't look in my eyes, say, "Hi, Dad," we have a problem. If I feed you for the rest of my life, I give you everything you want in your life. You have a good business, you have a good house, a good family, good everything, because you're Dad, then you better call me Dad. If I'm not bad Dad, don't even say hello to me. Yeah. Just turn your back. But if I'm a good dad, and I'm a good person, you better look in my eyes, say, "Hi, Dad." Otherwise, I'm going to get very upset.
Yeah. No, and I respect that, Joe.
That's what I did all my life.
I taught my daughters that I make mistakes, and I told them that, and I still learn. I'm going to be 58, and develop wisdom, and I made mistakes in my 50s still, but I told them, I work on love, trust, respect, and loyalty with a balance of understanding and morals. And sometimes I trust it too much, but I hope I live 100 years because that you're 75 and Joe at 75 and Joe at 50 and Joe at 25 are all three different men, right? And that's what I tell my daughters, you know, like Jean-Guy at 57, Jean-Guy at 37, two different men, right? But I evolve with wisdom, right? I evolve with wisdom.
Yeah.
I wanna thank you today, and if I was to close this, and I don't know where to start with you sometimes. I'm amazed. I'm actually I've done a lot of business, but I haven't done nothing. And I've worked in government, but I still haven't done nothing. And I still have a lot.
I know you did a lot too.
But I have a lot to learn still, right? And sitting with a man like you, I appreciate, because you bring a lot of value to me, and I'm glad you took this time today. And it's important for the community to know that Cama of Rome Flooring is it's a global thing. Like it's huge, right? And I said the word a moment ago, radiate. You radiate so much, and you've given so much. And I hope that God waits another 25 years and for calling you, because you have so much more to give.
I hope so, because but I said, I'm ready. I'm ready anytime God call me. When that's the biggest pleasure I take for life. And like I said to you a while ago, you know, just talk to you, to me, it's a pleasure. Just to be you know, together, spend this time today. It's extra for me, because I accomplished so much in my life with no education, just to be kind to people. That's all. You know, I think kindness is very important. Generosity, act of generosity, very important to me. And like you said too, matters too. Matter how to respect people and everything. And you know, there's four words that I always care. Always means a lot to a lot of people like you, me, and the rest of the world. The four words are love. Love is, you know, if you love life, you love people, and you love what you're doing, it can go a long way.
100%. And you're right on the education, like just like my parents, right? And they had so much love, and it was a very strong foundation for me in life. And you know, but I want to close off by saying, like, beyond the education, your knowledge, your training, your experience, your love, your radiation that you give to the world, it's
Thanks.
no, thank you. The thank goes to you.
Thank you.
And thank you this morning for this conversation. And I would finish off with a handshake, but I'm gonna get a big hug from you when I get out.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir.
All the best thing. I love you.
Oh, I love you more. I love you more. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Cama, Rome Flooring. So much to learn from this man. So much that you've given, and I thank you again this morning for your time.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you for your time, and thank you for being here. It's been a pleasure having you over.
Likewise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.